Your WXXV News 25 forecast first, powered by Mississippi Power.
Not a bad day this Sunday, but temperatures dropped off pretty quickly. They will bottom out in the upper 30s, maybe mid 30s inland to low 40s along the beachfront. A bit more humidity will work in. So will that cloud coverage. That will be increasing as we head into an unsettled week. That's your forecast first. WXXV News 25 starts right now.
New tonight on News 25, Governor Ron DeSantis announced he has suspended his presidential campaign. Plus, a new development in the death of a Gulfport man over the weekend. And finally, carnival season is in full swing on the coast. We will take you to a parade that happened over the weekend.
Your news live right now. WXXV News 25.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. WXXV News 25 at 10. I'm Trey Tonnessen. We have breaking news tonight. Starting us off, the Gulfport Police Department has requested the public's assistance in locating a juvenile from Gulfport. 15-year-old Denia Jackson is said to be 5 foot 4 inches and weighs 115 pounds. She was last seen near the 11,000 block of Highland Avenue. Anyone with information is urged to call the Gulfport Police Department at 228-868-5959. We brought you this breaking news story late last week. Over the weekend, Gulfport police charged a 66-year-old woman in the death of a man found in a wooden box at his residence on Friday. Jerry Lynn Israel was charged with first-degree murder in the death of her son, John Allen Gaither. She was taken into the Harrison County Jail. Gaither was reported missing back in December. Police sent out a missing persons report after they were called out to a residence on 16th Avenue regarding a welfare check. After more investigation, detectives and crime scene technicians searched his residence on Thursday morning where Gaither was found. New tonight, a major shakeup in the Republican presidential race. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced Sunday he is ending his bid for president. He posted the announcement on X. DeSantis finished a distant second in last week's Iowa caucus and is polling in single digits in New Hampshire. He told his supporters in his video message that if there was more he could do on the campaign trail, he would have done it. But right now, he does not see a clear path to victory. He said while his campaign for president is ending, he will continue his mission in Florida and show the country how to lead. And with Governor Ron DeSantis suspending his campaign, Donald Trump and GOP rivals Nikki Haley are making their final appeals to New Hampshire voters with just days until the state's 2024 primary contest. And the race appears to be Trump's to lose, with the former president widening his lead over Nikki Haley in the latest poll, which is conducted by the University of New Hampshire. Gloria Pazmino has the latest from the Granite State.
Republican candidates are making their final push to New Hampshire voters with just days to go until the state's presidential primary election.
On Tuesday, it is, do you want more of the same, or do you want to go in a new direction?
You got to get out because margins are important.
And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made this announcement.
I am today suspending my campaign.
And the former president appears to be in the driver's seat to win the Granite State primary. In a new poll conducted by the University of New Hampshire, Donald Trump holds 50% support among likely Republican voters in the state. Compare that to his closest challenger, Nikki Haley, who stands at just 39%. Just 3 weeks ago, the same poll had Haley trailing by single digits. And the personal attacks between the two continue.
I mean, he claimed that Joe Biden was going to get us into World War II. I'm assuming he meant World War III. He said that he ran against President Obama. He never ran against President Obama. You don't be surprised if you have someone that's 80 in office. Their mental stability is going to continue to decline.
But she's made an unholy alliance with the rhinos, the never-Trumpers, Americans for no prosperity, globalists, the radical left communists, and they want to get liberals and Biden supporters. That's what they want.
A victory on Tuesday would accelerate Trump's march to a third straight GOP nomination. In New Hampshire, I'm Gloria Pazmino reporting.
As cold temperatures have been prompting school cancellations, travel delays, and winter weather hazards around the country over the past week, many are wondering how much longer those temperatures will last on the Gulf Coast. In a few minutes, a meteorologist will tell us when we could see precipitation again and if it will be cold enough to freeze. Also, as a chance for heavy rain is in the 7-day forecast, which areas across the Mississippi Gulf Coast could see heavier rainfall if the temperatures aren't cold enough for winter weather? We have those answers coming up. And carnival season is in full swing on the coast as the Crew of Pearl Parade took place in Picayune Saturday. News 25's Austin Lindsay has the story.
Here in Picayune, they're letting the good times roll with their annual Crew of the Pearl Parade for the Mardi Gras season.
You can always come here, and it's a nice time. Kids have a great time. You know, it's just nice.
The Crew of Pearl Parade has been around more than a decade now.
Well, first off, it's a family parade. A lot of families come out, amazing crowds come out for this.
It's fun just to get stuff and hang out with family, especially around here in this park. It's fun to play around with, and I'm sure the really young kids love it.
How did the parade get started?
The Crew of Roses started this many years ago, 1999. They lapsed for a year or two, then the Crew of the Pearl came, and it's been growing every year.
Every year, the parade raises funds for the Queen of Pearl's charity of choice. For this year, the Queen chose
Save a Life is a pregnancy support charity here in Picayune, and we believe in getting people educated as much as possible about pregnancies.
With tons of beads to catch and hang on your neck, there is always something special the kids take home.
I didn't really get much, but I did get like some stuffed animals and stuff, so I might give that to my nephew. I got some candy, but not much, maybe one or two.
In Picayune, Austin Lindsay, WXXV News 25.
Tomorrow, the Gone Fishing Ministry is partnering with Feeding the Gulf Coast for food distribution. Beginning at 10 a.m., food will be handed out for those in need. It is 1 box per car limited and is first come, first serve. You can pick up your box at the Goodwill Missionary Baptist Church in Pass Christian. The event runs until noon or until food is gone. And most recently, the Mississippi Sound Coalition, which is made up of cities and organizations across the Gulf Coast, has filed a rebuttal after the Corps claimed the opening of the spillway caused minimal damage. The coalition says the opposite is true and plans to prove it using research from 2 universities. News 25's Brooke Parker went to Stennis Space Center to see how scientists at the University of Southern Mississippi are tracking Bonnie Carey's impact and what they envision for the Gulf's future.
Researchers at the University of Southern Mississippi have created a way for us to see what happened in the Gulf when Bonnie Carey Spillway opened in 2019, and it may just be the proof Mississippi Sound Coalition needs.
When the model had the Bonnie Carey Spillway open, you can see that there is a larger extent of the fresh water, into the area, into the sound. It actually, at one point, spreads from all the way from the western sound to Mobile Bay almost, right? So like the whole sound was full of fresh water.
2019's destruction was more than just the spillway opening. It was how long it was opened and how much water entered Lake Pontchartrain, Hurricane Barry pushing that water towards us, and dozens of other elements. These scientists have tracked it all and laid it out for everyone to see.
It really is all tied together, and this model allows us to start to tease apart how sensitive it is to what's happening out here affects things here.
The group can create models of what would happen day by day if the Bonnie Carey was opened again, and each day looks different.
Just because 2019 was very devastating, that doesn't mean every Bonnie Carey Spillway opening has the same effect on the marine life and fisheries and shell fisheries.
Unfortunately, there is no surefire way to know how the Bonnie Carey Spillway will affect the Mississippi Gulf Coast in the future. However, these scientists work alongside biologists to collect data that can help us rebuild. Data is collected like temperature, current salinity, and more so USM can create these models. The goal is that other marine biologists and scientists can make the best decisions based on these predictions to save Mississippi's marine ecosystem.
There's potential for restoration and recovery over time, and that's actually what we are trying to do, working with all stakeholders, trying to provide science-based guidance to them. So our research and our findings actually help them, better understand, all of us, better understand the dynamics of the area.
At Stennis Space Center, Brooke Parker, WXXV News 25.
The Mississippi Sound Coalition is in a legal battle with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers about the opening of the Bonnie Carey Spillway in Louisiana. But what exactly is the Bonnie Carey Spillway? The spillway is located on the Mississippi River between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. The spillway is used to relieve areas around the Mississippi River as it floods by opening the spillway, which then allows flood water to flow into Lake Pontchartrain and into the Gulf of Mexico. When the floodwaters are diverted to Lake Pontchartrain, however, it spells trouble for the seafood industry on the Mississippi coast. Coastal governments claim opening the Bonnie Carey Spillway harms fishing habitats. A lawsuit was brought on by the local governments, fishermen, and tourism businesses damaged by more frequent opening of the spillway. The lawsuit was filed in 2019 after an opening of the spillway caused an algal bloom in the Mississippi Sound and the oyster mortality rate began to rise. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources will pay out more than $6 million to any commercial fishermen and seafood dealers who were affected. Coming up, meteorologist Jeff Vorick will have a look at the forecast after the break. Plus, the Shuckers have a job fair on Tuesday. More details coming up. And in sports, Jevin McCoskey sat down with Biloxi Shuckers Media Relations Manager Javic Blake ahead of an upcoming baseball tournament.